cleaning lady had called the school crying because the apartment was covered in trash and she'd found used sanitary napkins. Hey guys, so today I wanted to sit and talk to you guys because I never really talked about why I left my previous job. When you first start teaching in Korea, you're automatically put into the school's housing unless you opt out of it or they ask you to find your own apartment. But I was going to inherit the apartment for the girl I was taking over for. But her end date and my start date overlapped by a few days. So the school had asked me if they could put me into a hotel that they would pay for the week. And I was like, yeah, of course, that's fine. I don't want to like kick this girl out of her house. I moved to Seoul on Saturday and I start my job on Monday. And then actually the hotel they booked, they didn't have dates available for the full time I needed to be at a hotel. So I actually had to move into a second hotel in the middle of it all. To the day I'm supposed to move, the director comes down and he's like, hey, Chen, we went to her apartment and nothing is packed, nothing is ready. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, this girl hasn't packed? Like, what?
Pivot! 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 Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And I was like, you know what? There's nothing I can really do about it now. But then I had to book into another hotel. Mind you, I've now booked into 3 hotels and I've been living out of 1 suitcase because all my other stuff had been in the school storage and I had completely out of clean clothes. But yeah, I was already pretty stressed out. Then we finally cut to the day I'm supposed to move into my apartment. The director comes and picks me up from my hotel. We go to the apartment. And as soon as I walk into this apartment, guys, my heart just, it sank. It sank to the bottom. This place looks terrible on initial thought. So then we went to the market to get some supplies I would need for the apartment. And as we're walking back, my director is just casually talking and he goes, you know, some of our teachers don't really like the apartments when they first see them, but then they really make it their own. And that was when I knew. I was like, you know, this is a shithole. And I walk back in and here's the thing, guys. I don't think I'm very high maintenance. You guys have seen my apartments, but I do need things to be clean and functional. And this was neither. I sat on my bed and for the first time in 2 years since I'd been in Korea, I cried. It wasn't like a cute cry. It was like, it was a sad cry. And I'd been so stressed from the week, all of it just pent up and I just couldn't stop. Literally this apartment, guys, let me tell you. They had put up new wallpaper that morning and the whole place smelled like paint fumes and glue. And usually you're supposed to let that stuff sit at least overnight because it's poisonous, it's hazardous to your health. But yet here I am, my new apartment, just gonna sleep and poison myself. That's really cool. There was duct tape holding up part of the terrace door, which I don't know why the solution was tape here. There was a long piece of green duct tape on like wooden floor laminate to keep it from coming up, which looked aesthetically pleasing, obviously. And then there was also just random duct tape holding up other things in this apartment. Again, duct tape is not the solution to fixing infrastructure. In the kitchen, there's the fan over the stovetop, but you look inside and there's no fan. There was nothing inside except black dust, and it was so baffling to me. I opened a cabinet door and it literally just fell open in my hands. The refrigerator was broken and dented. The bathroom, there was like rusty nails jutting out of the bathroom wall. Also, they asked me not to use the bathroom because the girl had broken the toilet and they wanted to check the pipes and someone would be coming in a few days to fix the toilet and the shower. So meanwhile, I didn't really understand where they expected me to use the bathroom or shower. I guess they just thought I wouldn't. There was the air conditioner in this apartment. The placement of it was just this tiny wall out of all the walls they could have picked. And this was jutting out of the wall. The kitchen sink, you turn on the kitchen sink and the water would somehow go down the pipe but end up on the floor.
It's like the sink doesn't work.
Everything was broken. Everything was dirty. It was just, I just couldn't understand. It was so heinous.
Oh, that's disgusting. I think I have amniotic sac in my mouth.
I just spent that whole afternoon crying. And the next day, I messaged my director, listen, I refuse to stay in this apartment. I need to find new accommodation. He calls me into his office Monday. He starts yelling at me and telling me how I'm ungrateful and that I can't just spring this kind of message on them, and how would the other teachers feel because they live in housing provided by the school and I'm calling them dirty. And I was at this point, I'd been full of so much rage and emotion.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
And just let it all just roll out, and I started crying once again. First and second time crying in Korea was because of this situation. And I just go, listen, I don't know what these other teachers' apartments look like, but I know what this apartment looks like, and it is gross. Like, you cannot make me live in this apartment. Everything is broken, everything smells weird, and everything is broken. Like, what? And so I just let it all out, and I was like, there was garbage still in this apartment. Like, I didn't understand how you could put someone in this kind of living situation. Then he further goes on and tells me, this is the kind of apartments that you can find here in Seoul that aren't crazy mansions. And then I started just getting really offended. I was like, do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I don't know what an apartment here looks like? I've been living here for 2 years. So we eventually come to a compromise where we would get we would find a new apartment, and that's eventually the apartment you guys saw in my apartment tour video. The cut to a few months later, we have a full staff meeting, and my director walks in and he goes, starting from now, we're gonna start implementing a month checkup on your apartment before you guys leave, because I've recently seen an apartment, and let's just say it was a garbage dump. Did everyone else heard that? Yes, he just, out of his own mouth, he just said he called it a garbage dump himself. And then he goes on to say how they are our pseudo parents while we are abroad because our families aren't here, and that they are responsible for us. And let me just tell you, I felt so much fury from that statement, because he had literally sat me down in his office just to yell at me for 20 minutes, make me feel like I'm the bad guy, and make me feel guilty for wanting a decent apartment. Meanwhile, he called it a garbage dump, and then he says that he's my pseudo parent. What kind of parent would put their kids in a garbage dump? Bad ones. And it just made me so angry, but also so validated in everything I did, because how dare he have the audacity to have yelled at me and made me feel bad when he knew I was right, and he just didn't want to admit it. And it was so strange because they were so embarrassed when this girl didn't move out on time, but they were not embarrassed to try to put me into I get it, where it's a business transaction, I work and you pay me. But there are some things that I'm really not willing to tolerate, and a decent living situation is one of them. And if a cleaning lady calls the school and tells them that she can't clean this apartment, you probably shouldn't be putting someone to live in it. Luckily, I came out for the better. If you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down below and I will do my best to answer them. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!